The Nephilim, Numbers 13, 31, 33. Verse 33, it says that they were giants, Nephilim, the sons of Anak. What about them?
Yeah, but it didn't even stop there. Like even in Judges, it's all over the Old Testament where you talk about the Israelites. These guys were like grasshoppers.
Yeah, is that hyperbole or is that literal? Is it a form of speech to exaggerate their size, or is it a literal description?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's literal, but they're trying to say that these guys were tall, very tall. These guys were humongous. That's
so
basically
they're humongous,
what they're trying to say.
What about them exactly, though? What's the question about the giants specifically?
What I'm trying to say is that a lot of times people look at the Bible and say, look how evil God used to send out these Israelites and make them kill all these people. What I think a lot of the cultures that the Israelites were fighting were fallen beings.
Yeah, that's an assumption that you probably got from Michael Heiser. That's not necessarily the case, because you're going to have to assume, because that's one of his arguments, you're going to have to assume that after the flood, another influx of spirit beings impregnated women to produce these giants. What scriptural basis do you have for that assumption?
That these guys were
because you're assuming that the Nephilim. Let me help them understand what you're trying to say. The reason why God ordered the Israelites to wipe out the Canaanites is because they were giants, meaning the hybrid, the offspring of the sons of God, these spirit creatures with women. And so it makes sense that God would want to eradicate them because they were not generally human. They were a hybrid, a corruption of angelic seed and human seed. Well, that's true before the flood. What proof do you have that after the flood, another influx of spirit beings came and impregnated women?
That's a good question. And the only way you can have, I don't think the Bible really gets into that, but the only way you can explain that more into detail. Yes. I mean, I don't know if you believe or follow this book, but they said that the book of Enoch, right?
Yeah, but the descendants of the sons of God were killed in the flood, and Enoch intimates that what we call ghosts or demons are actually the spirits of the hybrid, that when they were killed, their spirits roam around as demons. Well, number one, even if that's the case, that's pre-flood. So what evidence do you have after the flood that another influx of spirit creatures impregnated females to produce another race of giants? Number two, the New Testament does not identify the demons as the spirits of the hybrid who were destroyed in the flood. That's an extra biblical source that can be true or can be false, because not everything in Enoch is correct. So we use that which is inspired and canonical to determine those parts of Enoch that are true or false. And thirdly, the assumption is, this is what I want you to pay attention to, that in Genesis 6:4, the Nephilim are the hybrid, the descendants of the sons of God who got the women pregnant, as opposed to being another group of creatures that were there when the offspring of the sons of God were born. If you read Genesis 6 verse 4 carefully, it does not say the Nephilim were their offspring. It says there were Nephilim in those days and afterwards when the sons of God went into the daughters of men and had children with them. So you have two groups there, the Nephilim and the children sired by the sons of God. You're assuming they're one and the same. And grammatically, you can argue that, or you can just allow the plain reading of the text to lead you to assume they're two different groups of beings. Reread it. Too many assumptions being read into the passage. And it's not your fault.
Say that again. I'm sorry, Sam. Say that last part. There are two sets of what?
Two sets of beings, the Nephilim and the children of the sons of God. They're not one and the same. It doesn't say that in Genesis 6:4. Read it.
Oh, yeah, I agree completely.
So, but then let's go back. If you agree that the Nephilim, the giants, are not necessarily the offspring of the sons of God, these spirit creatures, they're not the hybrid offspring of angels and humans, then Nephilim are simply human beings that are excessively large. They arise from the human gene pool. And in fact, if you read who the Nephilim were in the time of Canaan, they actually would have come from the line of Ham. They were human descendants of Ham.
Okay, I didn't really understand now I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, because your assumption is that the giants are the offspring of the sons of God, right?
The giants are the sons of God, but I also believe that, the sons of God, which are the fallen angels.
Okay, so you believe the Nephilim are the offspring of the fallen angels?
Yes.
Show me where it says that in Genesis 6:4.
But I also believe that they continued even after the flood.
Where does it say in Genesis 6:4 that the Nephilim are the offspring of the fallen angels? That's my point. Show it to me. The text is right there. It doesn't say that. Reread it. Reread it carefully.
It says there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God.
So they were around when the sons of God did this, right?
Sorry?
They were around when the sons of God did what they did. Read it. It doesn't say they are the offspring. It says the giants were there when the sons of God did what they did. Get women pregnant and had children with them. Read it. It's right there. It doesn't say that they are the offspring.
Okay.
So if I say, hey, I was around, here, let me give you a modern example. Let me give you what I'm saying. If I was around, if I say I was around when the angels slept with the women and had children, are you going to assume that I'm one of the children?
No.
Okay, but that's what the text says. The Nephilim were there when this phenomenon took place. What phenomenon?
So what's your point? You're trying to say that
they're human beings. The plain reading of the passage is they're simply human beings from the human gene pool that were excessively large. Because if you read carefully, Goliath was one of the sons of Anak. He was a giant. And by giant, it meant he was over 9 feet tall with 6 fingers and 6 toes. That to them was the gigantic, 9 feet tall. So it is quite possible within the human gene pool, you can have a race of excessively large humans as you can have a race of excessively small humans called dwarfs. That has nothing to do with an angelic influx, infestation. That's what I'm trying to say. Too many assumptions. I know many Christians do believe that. That's fine. But again, it's too many assumptions being read into the text. It's not explicit.
So just to summarize, you're saying that the giants existed before
and after. Right?
Yeah, and after. But you're saying that these particular giants, they were created by God?
The angels, were they created by God?
Yeah.
Was Noah created by God?
No, but were these giants produced by the angels, or were these giants produced by God himself?
Even the way you asked me the question is wrong. It's like saying, was Noah produced by the angels or by God? Noah was produced by his mother and father. What are you talking about? No. In one sense, everything is produced by God, even the angels and their seed. Just like I was produced by God, but God produced me through my mother and father. So rephrase your question so I understand what you're asking me.
No, I'm trying to say that you're saying that the giants existed before the angels came down and had sex with the daughters of men. Correct?
That's what the text says. The giants were there when the sons of God came down and got these women pregnant. So where did the giants come from? The same place you came from. You came from human parents. They are human beings, descendants of human beings.
Okay.
That's it. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why when you ask me, are they from angels from God? That's a confusing way of asking the question. It's like saying, okay, am I from God or am I from my mother and father? Everything is from God. But how did God bring me into being? Through my mother and father. Even those offspring of the sons of God, they too are from God, in that they wouldn't exist if God didn't allow the angels to do what they did. Nothing can happen. No one can be born. Nothing can be created apart from God permitting it or decreeing it. Right?
Okay. All right. Awesome explanation.
Did you get what I'm trying to say, brother?
So much.
So what I'm trying to say is, before you swear by a position and you cling to a position, you need to hear all sides of the issue and ask the Holy Spirit to guide you to the truth and to protect you from error, because Proverbs 18:17 is a verse I want you to remember. It says, the first to present his case seems right until someone comes and questions him. So let me repeat Proverbs 18:17 again. Proverbs 18 verse 17. The first to present his case seems right until someone comes and questions him. So if you want to believe the giants are the offspring of these fallen angels, that's fine, but it's not explicit, it's not conclusive, and not everyone agrees with that interpretation.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not the only one. I didn't invent this. Many scholars don't agree with the interpretation that the giants, the Nephilim, were the hybrid offspring of the fallen angels who cohabited with women.
So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but then you will be saying that there were two versions of the giants?
Yeah, if they're human beings, why are you shocked that you'll have giants who are 9 feet tall before the flood and giants that are 9 feet tall after the flood? So you should be shocked that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is walking around. I don't get your, yeah, you get what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why it is shocking. In our human DNA, we can produce a race of giants that are 7 feet, 8 feet, 9 feet. Because if you look at the dimensions of Goliath, he turns out to be over 9 feet tall. He's not 20 feet tall. And he is one of the giants. He's the son of Anak. So why would that shock you that there were tall people before the flood, tall people after the flood? There are tall people here. They're all in the NBA. You gather all the NBA players, and here's your race of giants. So let's exterminate them, wipe them out.
But who's to say those guys are human? I'm just kidding.
I don't know. No, you're right. Because, you know, they say aliens do visit and artificially inseminate people, right?
Right? Anyways, thank you so much.
Good questions, brother. Excellent questions, man. Thank you for allowing me to challenge you and sharpen you for the glory of Jesus Christ.
Thank you, brother.
Amen. God bless. Good questions. This was an excellent question from this brother.